He's coming, and he's really an interesting talent. So he's coming right now just because we had some rumors here in Italy, because the manager of Atalanta, Giampiero Gasperini, told us that he wanted to extend the loan for Diallo till the end of the season here with Atalanta in Italy. Atalanta were trying, just because, as you know, Papu Gomez is out from the project of the club, so they were trying to keep Diallo, but Manchester United said no. Also, the player wants to join immediately Manchester United, so now he was flying to Rome just to complete his paperwork, and then he will be in England to join Manchester United. So he's coming from Manchester United right now. And yes, I expect something more from Manchester United. We have to follow the situation of another interesting young player like Moises Caicedo. Good player, good talent. They are going to decide soon if spending some money on him or not. And also possible as centre back. Let's see what's going on. I think it's really difficult to go for Upamecano in this moment. Possible next summer we will have to see about him. But I expect something more, not only Amad Diallo for Manchester United.
So we hear that there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, by the way. Smash the like button, hit the share button as well. Fabrizio Romano has spoken. Fabrizio Romano has said in his opinion, in his informed opinion, Manchester United will sign, in his view, an additional player to Diallo this month. And that, for me, represents big, big news indeed. Man United fans have been calling for this for a number of weeks now, been shouting and screaming from the rooftops that, yes, Pellistri hasn't played yet. We've got Amad Diallo coming in, but we want more. But we want more. We want you to put your hands in your pocket. There is the Caicedo deal we mentioned as well. Man United have that all laid out. Personal terms, fees with the club. It's just whether or not they want to trigger it at this moment in time. But the outside view is, and Fabrizio Romano has confirmed it today, that Man United will look at another position, potentially the centre-back area. And I know a lot of Manchester United fans have come out and said, that's what we want addressing, that area there. Diallo is going to cover the right-hand side. We think we're going to have a player in him. There's also other news today that's come out and that's circulating across the ether about up to 6 players leaving Manchester United, or United trying to get rid of up to 6 players. The majority of them, they're not even touching the Manchester United team. They're not even involved in the conversation as it stands right now at Manchester United. So the only one that was a standout name to me where I thought, oh, that's an interesting one. That's a bit of an interesting one as to whether or not it's actually true, is Dan James, instead of a player that Man United are potentially looking to move on and move out of the club. But I'm not too sure about that one, Chief, would be my view. But let's wait and see what happens in relation to that. But I want your immediate reaction to what Fabrizio Romano has confirmed today, the update that he has given. One, Diallo's on his way. He's going to be in Manchester very, very soon, officially signing the deal and officially becoming a Manchester United player. And what's really interesting is that Atalanta really wanted him. And Man United have said, no, we want him now. The player is desperate to get to Manchester now. That gives me an outside feeling that he's going to play first-team football from the off, that he's going to be involved in first-team football from the beginning. And I'm not saying we should rush him in and play him week in, week out. But if he's as good as, you know what, the Italians, I've read a lot of reports, and Fabrizio is one of the journalists in Italy that basically says absolutely sensational player. So I'm so intrigued to see the quality of this young man. But aside from that, Man United fans, an additional player, somebody else on top this month. How would that make you feel about this club and board? If Man United, they sign Diallo, they're dropping a lot of money on this young man as well. A lot of it's in add-ons, but they're committing to that. If they go out and drop another 30, 40, 50 million pounds on a player this month, does that tell you they're trying to win the league? Does that tell you they're backing Ollie? Forget Ollie for a moment in the team. What does that tell you about the club's ambition? What does that tell you about Woodward and the Glazers' approach? Is this what you want to see? Is this going to make you feel better about them? I want your views and opinions on this. And what position do you think Man United should be looking to fill? What individual player or position should the club be fighting tooth and nail to recruit in this coming window, the window that we find ourselves in? We'll play the Fabrizio clip a little bit later again for you as well. I do want your views. I do want your opinions. Make sure you're smashing that. In fact, you know what? I'll play that clip again for everybody that's just tuning in. We're going to get KJ on the air very, very soon as well. We'll go through that clip again for you. We'll put it up on the screen so you'll be able to hear what is being said.
A private jet there. Tell us about him, and what about other incomings at Manchester United?
Samad is coming, and he's really an interesting talent. So he's coming right now just because we had some rumors here in Italy, because the manager of Atalanta, Giampiero Gasperini, told us that he wanted to extend the loan for Diallo till the end of the season here with Atalanta in Italy. Atalanta were trying, just because, as you know, Papu Gomez is out from the project of the club, so they were trying to keep Diallo, but Manchester United said no. Also, the player wants to join immediately Manchester United, so now he was flying to Rome just to complete his paperwork, and then he will be in England to join Manchester United. So he's coming for Manchester United right now. And yes, I expect something more from Manchester United. We have to follow the situation of another interesting young player like Moises Caicedo. Good player, good talent. They are going to decide soon if spending some money on him or not. And also possible at centre back. Let's see what's going on. I think it's really difficult to go for Upamecano in this moment. Possible next summer we will have to see about him. But I expect something more, not only Amad Diallo for Manchester United.
And that's a bit there. I expect something more, not just Diallo. They're big, powerful words from this man. Josh here, longtime viewer and member of the Football Terry, says, sounds interesting, Terry. Diallo costs more than Dan James, and it's in the pandemic market. Maybe he is taking Dan James's spot. I think you could be absolutely spot on with that. I really, really do. Philip Hunt here says, frustrating as a Liverpool fan. Seems your board are actually interested in winning the league, whilst Liverpool are not doing anything. And I get why Liverpool fans will feel like that. And I've said already, like Liverpool, if they sign good this summer, they definitely take back this January, they definitely take back their title. For me, I'm going to bring KJ in a minute, but I'm going to give you my opinion now. If the board go out and sign somebody potent, they go out and actually make a stand, I'll buy a Man United kit. I'll show my support. Do you know why? It isn't exactly what I want, but I'm about compromise. Do you get what I mean? Maybe it's my union backgrounds, right? I'm about compromise. Buying someone in January to add to this squad tells me we want to try and win this league. Even if it's two players that are highly talented, that can play now, but they're also for the future, that's fine with me because you're adding that depth. For me, you look at Caicedo, there's a chance he's instantly going to be better than Scott McTominay. You think about Traore, he can't be worse than Dan James. He can't. I love that. Look, Dan James, I like you, bro, but he can't perform worse than that. So for me, listen, it's not exactly what I want. I want to see more from this board moving forward. But as far as I'm concerned, it's a good show of faith that they want to start winning titles again. Maybe that's the Ollie influence that we've been looking for. Thank you very much, Nathan, for signing up and becoming an official member, an official academy member of the Football Terrace. Let us get KJ on the line now as well. KJ, how's it going, bro?
Yo, I'm good, thank you. I'm good.
Good. I mean, what's your reaction to what Fabrizio's had to say that he expects at least 2 signings this window?
Like for me, seeing is believing. Obviously, Traore is kind of come in, which is great. I'm looking forward to seeing him play. If he gets first 10 minutes, that'll be what we want to see. But I won't be surprised if we don't see him in the first team anytime soon. But I'm excited for him to come into the club because he looks like a special talent. I'm already gassing him, calling him the Ivorian Messi, and I don't care. You know what it is. Caicedo is looking like. I looked at some footage of Caicedo again today, and I see him. It's like, yeah, this kid looks like he could be good as well. How he will translate from the Ecuadorian league to England, we'll yet to see. But hey, man, like you can only spot something and then give it a chance. So I'm looking forward. Hopefully, we get that over the line. In terms of anything other than that, I don't know. Was it Philip saying earlier just about it looks like our board trying to win the league and Liverpool board is being a bit slow, and there's no evidence of Man United's board trying to win the league over the last few years. With some big names, but when it comes to these moments now, they haven't shown that push and that fight to try and get that done. And so I can't sit there and say I fully agree what you're saying. If I'm a Liverpool fan, I won't be worried about our board or your board, sorry, because you guys have got a track record of doing the right thing. You know what I mean? It might be highly frustrating, but you guys can pull out a deal out of nowhere. Liverpool, we know that Liverpool got Jota, bam, you know what I mean? Got in there, done. So
Yeah.
Liverpool, in terms of Liverpool, Liverpool fans relax. I wouldn't be too stressed. Maybe towards the end of the window, if there's no more movement, then get stressed. But in terms of us, I just don't see any senior players coming in January, unfortunately.
Yeah, I hear that. Do you know what's interesting about it? There's two trains of thought that I've got. 5 weeks ago, Traore was coming, and we were looking at Moises Caicedo. But 5 weeks ago, we were not talking about Man United being in a transfer race. There is a train of thought to suggest that we should just keep buying the players we were going to buy anyway, because United are, as it stands right now, we could fade this season. But right now, we're in terms of challenging for a title or being in a title race or being this close to the top of the league. If it gets points total, just where we sit in the league, we're probably ahead of where we expected to be, if that makes sense. So there's an element of, well, let's not throw our plan out the window. The plan for me was always to be under Ollie from day one, was by his third season to be challenging for a title. So what I like about the ideas of the Caicedos and Traores coming in is we might be in a title race, and they might come into games in the Europa League, some cup games potentially, and a few appearances from the bench. I get the feeling that they might still change the substitution rule, but as we get towards the end of the season, let's get a feeling that might happen. But they might get some valuable game time in that period to really set them up for next year, which is where I think that they may come into their own, especially Traore, that's obviously grown up and done a lot of work in the European game already. It's an interesting one for me. What is great is the depth, the extra depth these two young men will give to the team. You know, Caicedo's already an international player that's been cutting it against the Brazils and the Argentinas. There's no saying that he's going to translate it straight to the Premier League. The same as Traore. You never know how these players are going to act. You look at players like Neto and Podence as examples. They've taken to the Premier League like ducks to water. You then look at someone like Fabio Silva, Kai Havertz, Timo Werner. They're really struggling with it. You never quite know what you're going to get, if that makes sense. And for me, them two signings, all it will do for me is show me that the club is trying to move forward in the right way. If a senior player comes in, then I can do nothing but congratulate and say thank you to the board, because for me, that's what we've been asking for. I don't want it just to be any player. It's like if you inquire about Upamecano and you can get a deal done, do it. But if they say no and you want that player specifically, then wait till the summer. Like what I don't want us to do, and I think we've done it too much as a club in recent years, is we deviate. Like the Alexis Sanchez deal. We weren't even looking at him until City nearly signed him. Why don't we go get him? It's just dumb. And that's where I don't want to go back to. That kind of, we jumped the gun maybe a bit in the summer. And we've kind of admitted this, that maybe there was a bit more planning and thought that went into the Telles and the Cavani deals, but maybe the timing of them made us believe it was very much a last minute panic buy again, because they've worked out quite well. They've seamlessly fit into the system. They get on well with the manager, and and especially Cavani, has some really important moments for us. So I'm going to give them a little bit more faith that they're trying to change their ways. I was probably too trigger happy, once bitten, twice shy. But either way, if we just bring in Caicedo and we bring in Traore this summer, two of the hottest young talents in world football, that isn't to be scoffed at. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get that, Bob. Right now, I sit on the side of a broken clock is right twice a day. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? So, like, like the Cavani and Telles there might seem like it was planned, or like it might seem like they actually did something more to it than just panic. But then I'm like, all right, cool. Then prove to me that you continue doing that. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I ask. That's all I want from United. If you're gonna keep people like Woodward in charge, if you're gonna have the board that we have, prove, instead of just doing the PR thing and pointing out all these reports about this, that, and the third, show us that you're doing what you're saying you're doing. Show us that you are thinking about the future. Show us that you are wanting to challenge for the league. And that's all I ask. So Traore, Caicedo, those are great. These are, again, as I said before, those are great stepping stones. Now, if you go into January, if I hear that we're going to secure a deal for Sancho in the summer in January, that's when I'm going to be like, all right, cool, I can see what they're doing. If you hear about securing a deal for Upamecano, maybe not this in January, but if in the summer, and getting on it early, then I'm like, right, okay, these men are changing their ways of doing what they're doing. They need to show us this. And it's not just about what's coming in, it's about what's going out. We've had, obviously, he's saying like reports saying up to 6 players going out. I need to see those 6 players leave. You know what I mean? I ain't going to get happy before and I get, yes, we're changing. And then Romero's still here, Lingard's still here, Juan Mata's still here. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need, like, right now, the reason why I'm so harsh on the board is because, one, they've been failing longer than any managers have at Man United, no matter who it is. They've failed longer than Moyes, longer than Van Gaal, longer than Mourinho. And if you think Ollie's failing longer than Ollie. So I'm not going to give him a leeway just for the fact, they've signed a couple of players that I like the look of. No. Be consistent. Like people are asking of Ollie and of the players. These men get the same treatment, if not harsher, because they're the ones running the ship. But yeah, man, is it exciting times at United? Yes, it is exciting times at United, and I'm looking forward to it.
And I hear that. I hear a lot of what you're saying there, and I think for me, players leaving is so important. And do I think we're going to get rid of 6 players in January? I don't think with the best will in the world, this board have they have the capabilities of getting rid of 6. But I would like. There's a couple of them that you think are concerns because they've played parts this season. Juan Mata, Dan James. That there could be moments in the remainder of the season where we need them to fill holes. But equally, it depends upon the progression of Pellistri and then Traore that have come in to whether or not they're ready to come in and play. But as you say, the Rojos, Phil Jones, Lingard,
Romero. And the thing is, they did Romero dirty, bruv, in the summer. They did him dirty. They could have secured a move for him. Gone, and he could have been off the books.
Well, the financial element, but you've also got we spoke so much about Lampard's situation and people being happy with the way the squad's being treated. You want to keep this Man United team after we beat Villa and after we beat Wolves, the celebratory mood, the kind of togetherness of the team and the squad, I thought was quite beautiful to see. I haven't seen that from a Man United squad and team for a long time. What I don't want to kind of happen and to take over is for there to be some frustration. So 3 or 4 players that are desperate to play football want to move. Their agents line up and moves, but the club reject it for stupid reasons because then 4 players we mentioned haven't kicked a ball in the Premier League or the Champions League, or they're not going to play. They're not going to get on the field of play. So get them out the club. Even if you have to turn around and say, do you know what, with Phil Jones, yep, we'll keep paying him 25 grand a week of his salary just to get him gone. I think it shows great faith to the rest of the team that, they're your teammates. People forget that we all might banter Phil Jones. We might banter Lingard, but they're great friends with players in the squad. So I want to keep that squad harmonious. I want to keep it together. So yeah, definitely move them on. Get some of that salary off the books as well. That gives us a much better opportunity and standpoint to be able to say, right, let's maybe now look at that. Because I do think we're going to go in for Sancho again, mainly because man just ain't happy where he is. Although he did have a good game the other night, I was told. There's a goal and an assist. Yeah,
goal and assist.
But a standout performance as well on top of that. So, Dortmund will be loving that because that valuation will be right on the way back up. We have a comment here. I think I might have lost it. It might have jumped off the screen now. No, it's back again. So one thing I dislike about StreamYard, you hover over a comment ready to put it on the screen. Then it refreshes, moves, and gone. It's from Twisted Bubba. And it says, and I definitely have lost it because it moved and I can't find it now. Here we go. Terry, why is Darren Fletcher in the coaching setup? It's a really simple answer because he's been offered a job. That's why he's there. Do I know how good a coach he is? No. Do any of us really know how good any coaches are? Yeah. The ones who have got really good coaching jobs at really big clubs who are practically impossible to sign. So unless you think we've got the possibility of taking one of Pep's or one of Klopp's or one of Real Madrid's first team coaches away from them, which this isn't Football Manager, where what I used to do when I played Football Manager, I would go onto the search engine area and find out the best attacking coaches. And it didn't matter what club they were at, you just offer them stupid money. If they're on $3 grand a week at Madrid, you'd offer them 15 grand, they'd come to you. That isn't really how it works. We have no idea how good or bad Fletcher's going to be. We have no idea the capacity of his role within the first team setup. All I know is that he understands the club. Another thing I know is that he's won 5 Premier League titles and was very much influential in many of them. He's won domestic trophies. He's won a Champions League. He comes with winning pedigree. And we often hear people talk about how great players don't necessarily make great coaches and managers. So that same logic works in reverse. Just because you weren't considered a great football player in terms of your balling ability doesn't mean you don't know how to coach and talk. And what I have seen from Darren Fletcher is a very articulate, very intelligent man on television, being able to, articulate things in the right way. And plus, as we spoke about off air earlier, and I would say this to you, Twisted Bubba, he's only 36 years old. He retired quite early. he's close in age to a lot of the people in that Man United squad. So there's also that element of connection, because you're a similar age to a lot of these players, especially the elder statesmen, maybe being that kind of, that sort of, be able to put an arm around these players and support them through difficult moments, help them navigate potentially a title race. There are many positives. I understand people's like, well, what's he done to be qualified for this? He's got his coaching badges. He understands the club. He's been doing some youth coaching. Who knows? But I think the outrage I've seen in relation to him turning up, I find it a little bit putrid, really. It's almost like some Man United fans have had nothing to moan about for 3 or 4 weeks, and this was a perfect opportunity just to snap and have a little rant.
No, you know what it is? I understand the sentiment of he's another inexperienced coach within the coaching team that people already feel is inexperienced and underqualified. So I get that kind of train of thought of, is he the right guy? But the way people have been going about it, the way they've been saying, oh, this is just nonsense. This is just Ollie giving jobs to the boys and da-da-da. And I'm just like, come on, people, like, relax for the 2 seconds. This is one of the best times we've had in terms of form and position in a while. Let's just see where it's going, because clearly something's going right now. You know what I mean? And maybe Darren Fletcher is the extra person needed to help with the mentality of winning. You know what I mean? The help with getting over the line, the help with just how the team are going to react to certain positions within in the league.
Yeah. Do you know what's interesting about it? I remember when Jurgen Klopp was ridiculed for bringing into the club a throwing coach who specialized in teaching these players how to how to positionally, tactically, and physically throw the ball better from throw-ins. It was laughed at. And then they started seeing like goals were stemming from the way throw-ins were being taken, more the tactical approach rather than they could throw the ball further. And suddenly it was looked at as a genius move. Once upon a time, when football clubs started to look at the diets of players, that was kind of, why do you need to do that? Eating chips is okay. There's always been these things. And I think Danny, the devil in the details, pointed out earlier that if you look at Rene Mullenstein, a highly successful coach at Manchester United, look at his career before and after. Not very much has gone on. And there's kind of this notion that in football, you have to work your way up to Man United as being a coach. So really and truly, we should be looking at coaches that have been at the sort of Everton, Leicester level. But actually do some research and look at what are considered top coaches, not managers. I mean, just first team coaches. Most of them don't go through a kind of hierarchy sort of step change to achieve it. They'll often go from, I've seen a League One first team coach, suddenly he's a Prem first team coach and it could be something they're working on. So for me, I'm not saying Fletcher's going to be amazing. I'm also not going to sit there and get angry and panic. I'm more about saying proof's in the pudding. Whether Fletcher's brilliant or awful, it's only going to have a marginal, if he's brilliant, it'll have a marginal improvement on the team. If he's not very good, it's not going to take us backward. Not in my opinion. I don't think he's walking in and he's going to be running the main training sessions from day one. Like, it just isn't going to happen that way. A few more comments here saying, Terry bodied by DT. You can clip this. I wasn't really bodied by DT. DT said if Man United are joint top, they're joint fourth. DT got that arse about tit. Because when you're joint top, it means there's no second place. So the next team down in third are actually Leicester. So they're third by themselves. They're clear in third. The next position is fourth, and there's 3 teams that are joint on the same point. So they're all joint fourth. Arsenal were officially joint 11th. So DT got it wrong. Equally, we were talking about this yesterday, myself and KJ, me and Aaron were talking off air about it as well. There's so many triggered rivals right now when it comes to Man United. You're not joint top. You're only where you are because Liverpool have declined. It's a poor quality league. What's the other one DT threw out? It was beautiful logic saying that Man United had more points after 17 games in the season that Jose came second. So that means Ollie's actually taken us backwards. And you're thinking, removing that whole middle part of the story where Jose flopped and it went downhill and then Ollie came in and slowly, like, there's kind of been a growth like this, isn't it? It's gone up, dipped. It's crazy. By the same logic that DT and all the haters here in the comments are working on, that Ollie's actually taken us backwards from that point. Liverpool now have less points this season under Klopp than they did at that same point after 17 games in the 17-18 season. So by the same logic, Jurgen Klopp has done nothing for Liverpool but take them backwards. It's just mad. But my point is this. Have you ever, in the last 5, 6, 7 years, have you seen rivals as triggered as this by Man United?
Nah, no, all it is, yeah, they're normally laughing at our pain. And they've been doing that for a while now, and they're getting used to that. And now, right now, they can't laugh at our pain. So them man are like, oh, I just need something to get on Man United because it's annoying that they're happy. Oh, listen, bruv, I understand. You're happy United fans. We're annoying, bruv. But you know what? So is every happy football fan, fam. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is, baby. Let us, listen, come at us with all the stats and all the eye test merchant business, you know what I'm saying? Whatever you got to say right now, don't change the fact that we are where we are, baby. You know what I'm saying? It ain't changing it. It doesn't change the fact that we're second or joint top, baby. Exactly. So it is what it is, guys. Man United fans, just keep enjoying the moment, man. If they just want to be upset about it, let them be upset about it. When things go wrong, that's when we actually need to care. But right now, we are where we are, and they can't change that. Also, Terry, shout out to you shouting out my GIF that I use for transfers.
I did, bro. I don't know about that, Chief. Yeah,
I don't know about that one, Chief. Yeah.
I like it. We've got a comment here from Josh. Get your super chats in as well, please, people. Who says score predictions for Liverpool versus Southampton? It's actually Southampton versus Liverpool, and that's key because Liverpool's away record this season has been absolutely trash. It's something they need to improve. Again, something that needs to improve. Otherwise, they cannot win the league. And the reason I say that is because Man United's away form has been impeccable, but our home form was poor up until the last 4 games where we've won 3, drawn 1. Liverpool's away form has got to suddenly start echoing Man United's home form because if our home form improves and our away form maintains and theirs doesn't change, they can't win the league. It's a mathematical certainty. So Liverpool have to win tonight. And I'm really intrigued to see how they handle the pressure. We know what a brilliant team they are, but this is a 3-year down the line, in my opinion, slightly jaded Liverpool team who have been at the peak of their powers for a number of years. Can they maintain it? You've got Leicester, Man United, Tottenham, and I believe Man City are proving me wrong massively, and they're pushing themselves towards a title race as well. Can Liverpool handle it? Proof of being the pudding tonight. I'm going to go, though, for a 2-1 Liverpool victory. I think it's going to be one of those games where 85 to 90 minutes, they're going to pop up with a winner and get it done. It'll be hard fought. If they lose this game, it's advantage Man United.
Even if they draw,
it's advantage Man United because we have the game in hand against Burnley, which we're highly likely to win with our away form and Burnley's form in general. And if we win that, we could, if they drop points tonight, Man United can go into the game at Anfield 2 or 3 points ahead of them, which again just applies that additional pressure. So I'm really excited. How do you think the game's going to go tonight? Okay.
Man, I would love a draw. I think expecting Liverpool to lose this game is unrealistic in terms of it can happen. Not saying it can't, but I'm just saying if you look at the two teams and where they are in their point in time, Liverpool are a better team. So I would love Southampton to dig out a draw. But I just think Liverpool are going to win. I think it's just going to be like a 2-0. They get 1 in the first half, 1 in the second half. Job done. But either way, yeah, it's still like this is what I love about what's happening to United right now. Our mentality is getting tested like it hasn't been before. Like before, it used to be we need to take advantage of teams slipping up to get in top 4. But now it's you need to take advantage of teams slipping up to be on top of the table. That is a different kind of test. And if we can get past some of these games, if we can beat Burnley, if we can get a positive result out of Liverpool, boy, like it's gonna be one of the maddest seasons that Man United have had in 8 years. So it is exciting. It could come crashing down very quickly, or it can go on for the longest time, and we can be on top of the world. It's one of those kind of seasons.
It is, and this is where Vibes FC come into play because regardless of your expectations, nobody 5 weeks ago was talking about Man United being in the title race. So I'm going to enjoy it while we're there. I'll be disappointed as and when we fall out of it because listen, at the start of every single season, there are only generally 3-4 teams that normally are predicted to win it, but everybody has that hope. You know, I've got friends that support teams that are in the Premier League that probably never feel they've got a chance. But at the beginning of the season, there's always that, can we do it? And since Leicester, they've always all had a bit of hope. That, you know, especially if they win their opening 3 or 4 games, which every now and then.
It happens every year. Look at Everton. People are saying Everton would win the league, bro.
A few years ago, West Ham won like 3 of their 4 opening games. And it's always like, oh, could it be us? So we all want it. but I'm resigned to the fact that we're not ready to win a league title yet, generally. However, you can kick on faster than you expect. So sometimes progress can happen much faster than you expect it to. Equally, you only have to beat what's in front of you. And at the end of the day, you know, there are people that have been boxing world champions. It ain't their fault that the overall, sometimes the overall quality of a weight section loses a bit of its potency. Heavyweight boxing in Britain 12, 15 years ago was nowhere near the standard it is now. So there were world champions in heavyweight boxing from however long ago that were nowhere near the standard of fighters now. That doesn't mean they weren't world champions. It is what it is. If you're the best out there, you're the best out there. And I'm going to support it 100% of the way. I'm going to get behind it. It's going to be intriguing. But equally, it's one of them. It's one of them things for me where I sort of feel like, how do I say this in the right way? I feel like it's not the actual. It's not actually expressions. I thought it was. It's not the actual expressions account.
How do you know it's not actually expressions?
When you look at it, there isn't the verified marker that he's got because he's got over 100. If you look at
okay.
If you look, yeah, it's not.
You know why that's funny? Because on Midnight Vibes last night, we had the call in, and some guy literally just whispered into the microphone, KJ Sniffs Cook. It was really weird. So yeah, that's freaking hilarious. If you watch Midnight Vibes, you're part of Vibes FC, you know about that.
You're tuning into that every Sunday and every Wednesday at midnight. Well, I suppose really it's every Monday and every Thursday. But you know, in terms of the TV calendar, it's there. I think in terms of we use the same logic as television. Television starts the next day at 6 a.m. So if something starts at 3 a.m. in the morning, it's still classed as the day before. We'll use that same logic. But yeah, as I say, bro, like for me, I'm relaxed about it. We're gonna get, if Man United stay in this race for another 5 games, 10 games, 15, then fall away. Whatever happens, people are going to banter us. But I'm bulletproof to it, bro. I'm impervious to it because I've no expectations of winning the league. It's as simple and it's as straightforward as that. As far as
you're saying it's him, I'm really curious now to see if it's actually expressed.
If he's saying it's him, I'll be able to work it out. No, I don't believe it is, because what I can do is I can click on his name, the guy making it, and then I can just go to his profile. And when I click on his profile, it will tell me whether or not it's him. It just isn't. Hang on a sec. Let's just do this here. No, it doesn't let you do it anymore, which is very, very weird. It used to let you do it. Now it isn't. You used to be able to open people's profiles. I might be able to do it via the actual stream link. We're going to hear.
No, it's not him. The chat has deducted. Thank you.
No,
chat.
It isn't. Sorry, mate.
Chat turned into Sherlock Holmes. It's not expressions.
No, I knew it wasn't, because expressions is account. He commented the other day, and it has a verified, the same as the football terrorist. It's a verified marker next to it, so you know it's him.
It's a fun. This is probably going to be the most fun I've had in the season in a while. I think the most fun I had was, I think, Ollie's first little stint as interim. That was hella vibes. You know what I'm saying? That was just fun all around, and that ended, unfortunately, with the greatest, the greatest comeback in Champions League history in Man United versus PSG. I'm joking, by the way. We all know it's the Barcelona PSG comeback. That was amazing. But yeah, that moment there, it just crescendoed up there and just fell back down. But now it's gonna be a good season. We're here to enjoy it. And
do you know what it is, bro? Like, I think about the Burnley game. The Burnley game's big no matter what. But if Liverpool drop points tonight, for me, the Burnley game becomes another. I'm forgetting everybody else. I'm talking about it publicly, but I'm speaking about it's an internal gateway. It's an internal hoop to jump through. Can we then? You know, we keep talking about, and I remember I listened back the other day to something. I think Aaron might have shared it in the group chat about when he spoke about the United bottle thing, about always bottling opportunity to seize. If we go into the Burnley game and win it, regardless of whether Liverpool drop points tonight or not, but even more so if they do, it's another one of those moments. It would be the 4th time in a month where we haven't bottled a situation. It's that internal gateway. Those are the things that make you believe more and more. Then you go into the ultimate. You go away to Liverpool. Can you get a positive result? And we'll see. But this week, there's another gateway. We're in a semi-final in 2 days' time. And it's not really, I haven't really started even thinking about it yet. I'm going to wait until tomorrow to start building up to that game. But it's a big match. And it's against Man City. So it doesn't matter that it's the League Cup. It's a massive game of football. Win it. And it's another box ticked. Do you get where I'm coming from? It's one of those moments where you say, well, last year he's a semi-final. Again, I'm talking about his detractors here. He's a semi-final manager who'll never be any better. If he wins this game Wednesday, all those people unless they come out and say, sorry, I got it wrong, their credibility is gone forever. And what I'm loving about this is Ollie and Man United this season are ending Twitter and YouTube and Instagram careers daily. They're ending them, and no one's listening. No one's watching them anymore. Like, I'm literally one account. He used to get thousands of retweets for everything he puts out. Literally in the last 3 or 4 weeks, he's struggling to get traction. And you can see he's going to change his profile really soon. And he's going to change his name and everything. And then like just try and slowly sneak in as something else, because he's not getting what he wants anymore, is the kind of attention from it. And I'm just enjoying seeing all these haters panic and go back in the other direction. It's hilarious. But we'll see what happens. Another barrier, Spurs. Not for us. I'm talking about Spurs, right? Harry Kane. I hope he plays, right? Because you know one of the things that people play him down on is he doesn't do it in semi-finals or finals. I know it's only Brentford, but I hope he plays in that semi-final and scores hat-trick. Like, hope he goes and scores hat-trick, and it's like, well, there you go. It's all done. Do you get what I mean? It's all done. He's out of there type thing. But we will see what happens in relation to that.
Sorry, if you could make one January signing, who would that be? Who's the person you want to make?
Honestly, it's still Sancho for me, because it's that right-hand side of the attack. And I think that right-hand side of the attack would apply so much balance, it would improve the rest of the team. Sancho also, Grealish could do this and Haaland could do this. But Sancho is on that right-hand side that need balance. We haven't addressed since 2009. That's why it stands out so... It's so protruded because of that. It's sticking out. It's there. It's in my eye. I think Sancho could also come in and have a similar output impact that Bruno has done. You're talking about a player that I honestly think could have a 65, 70, maybe even 80% goal contributions to game ratio, additional to what we're getting right now from Bruno Fernandes. And for me, I would still put him above everybody else. The Grealish situation, I love Grealish. This boy is just sensational.
You know, he is built for Man United. Like,
everything about him is I think Sancho is as well, but I think he is. Could you ask me to pick one? If you ask me what do I want, I'm picking both. I'm picking both, bro.
Yeah, I have to say both of them, bro.
You're asking me for one. The reason I go for Sancho first is because of the imbalance in our team. We have Rashford and Martial that can play left and do very good jobs. So it's a case of let me drop my preference for a minute. What does my team need more? It's that. Do I want both at my football club? Yeah, and Haaland. And then put all them players into the training and go, all right, boys, fight it out. Because that for me is just going to create. And that's, you know, if we did that, do you know how much I'd be campaigning for 5 substitutes, bro? Can you imagine? Literally, you can
that'd be so unfair.
You're never going to get Grealish, Haaland, Sancho, and everything else we've got without somebody leaving. Yeah. But for me, I would go with Sancho. Grealish is someone we have to look at. And I mean this sincerely. I love Rashford. I want Grealish to come in to challenge Rashford's position. Because for me, that competition is what my club is about. It's going to push Rashford to it. They're going to do this to one another to one-up each other. I don't actually care who starts in that position. I don't. I just want to win. And having them two there doing it is going to be brilliant. We're a club that plays 55, 60 games a season. You're going to need them both anyway. They can both play a multitude of positions.
Yeah.
So it's like, for me, I don't look at any of it as a negative. Oh, what about the development of this guy and that guy? If they're good enough, they're going to make it anyway, bro. How about yourself? Who would be your main pick?
Ooh, my main pick would have to be Ndidi. I feel like there are games this season where we have failed to see it out or have struggled because our defensive midfielders are Fred McTominay and Matic. You know what I mean? And they all have their qualities, but they also have their cons, where it's just like, if you could just change that, we could have a beautiful player. And Ndidi, I think, would just free us to be able to do a madness with our midfield options, with Van der Beek, with Pogba, with Bruno as well. I think... Jeez. And Ndidi is so good, man. I watched him against Newcastle. I was just like, I want him. You know what I mean? Like, I just want him. And I feel like if we got him in January, we could even the title push would definitely be on.
Interesting, because it depends what money you get. We know that Pogba's highly likely to leave, and that's going to generate income. if Ollie ends this season well, and that doesn't mean winning a Premier League, it just means more progression, more points. Can you? I keep it making me giddy. Imagine with what we've got now. Imagine throwing Max Aarons, Upamecano in DD, and then either Grealish or Sancho, and the only thing we lose is Pogba. Suddenly, that's when I start thinking about that, the reason I get excited is because so far, barring Dan James, Ollie's signings have done their jobs, including Igalo for what he was there for, fourth choice.
Oh yeah, Uncle Iggy's still here. I hope Uncle Iggy. I hope you get a goal in the FA Cup. And
that'd be nice. Do you know what I'd also love? I guess one of them little things. If Man United won the league, I beg they give him a medal. I honestly beg somebody just goes anywhere, like they request it, do whatever, give him a medal because he's been imperative as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, like for me, like I sort of feel Ollie's signings have all done very well, and even if you take I don't know how many done, 80%. You sign those 4 players, that tells you 3 of them are turning up, and it just takes you to that next level. And then I'm waiting for the next excuse. Oh yeah, you bought it though. I don't care, bro.
Yeah, it seems really. Man, if I had my way, this is what I would do for United this window and next window. I would only sign 4 players over the next 2 windows, and it's hella unrealistic. But I don't care. We're playing Football Manager right now. Ndidi, Grealish, Sancho, and a centre back may be Upamecano or Kunde from Sevilla, or listen, and we sell Paul Pogba. Let's go. You know what I mean? Let's go, fam.
Twisted here says, imagine Haaland at Old Trafford. See, Haaland's another one, bruv. Like the only thing that puts me off of him is his agent, because we know there's been problems. But as a footballer, see, the guy he just eats goals, bruv. Like, that's what I love about Bruno Fernandes. He's just a goal machine. I was watching Maddison play yesterday, and he had a really good game, scored a really good goal as well, and stuff. I don't see him as a goal machine. I love Jack Grealish. Not a goal machine. Been much better this year. I just love players that just, statistically, I was looking at it the other day, and we spoke about it in the show. The only other football player in Man United's history to score more goals in their first 30 league appearances was Van Nistelrooy, got 22. Bruno's on 19. So Bruno Fernandes has 3 less goals than one of the most potent strikers in our club's history. Think about this is Premier League history, not like club history. But I think since post-war, it's the best, second best as well. But every other player, I think in the top 15, is a striker, bruv. And that's like, when people keep putting it down, right? And even United fans like, yeah, but gives the ball away. Yeah, but there's some penalties. Yeah, but this. Boys, these same people moan and say like Lukaku was the worst number 9 in Man United's Premier League history, and they've got a point to that. Oh, we used to have players of X, Y, and Z standard on the wings, and now we've got. The reason I don't like Rashford is because he's nowhere near their level. It's like, bro, but you're moaning about Bruno that's come in, and in terms of outputs, he's done better in his first 30 league games than any other midfielder in the history of our football club, yet you've still got a problem. So, so drop me out when you tell me your reason that you don't like Rashford is because he isn't at Ryan Giggs level. You're a liar. You got a personal. Do you get where I'm coming from, bro? Because they always find a reason to be negative.
I get you.
And that's why I like Haaland, because I think Haaland would come in, even to this team, and he would just do a match.
You know what it is with Haaland, yeah? You know what it is with Haaland? I rate the kid. He's amazing. One of the best finishers in the world, and is only 19, 20. My thing is this: I just believe Mason Greenwood could do that. For me, it's like, when do you let this kid have his time? Because Martial is questionable. Lady Freya's coming into the fray. Oh, you see?
Say hello. What's up? Say hello.
I got this one on.
You got a hairband on?
Yeah.
Oh, you got plaits in your hair? Who did that? Don't squeeze that, please. You'll break it.
Yeah.
Oh, you say hello. Hello. Don't grab that. Why'd you like grabbing it? You're gonna break. She squeezes it so hard as well. Right. I'll see you in a minute. Give me a kiss.
Daddy, come with me, Dad.
Come with you.
Yeah.
Do you want to play?
Yeah.
Yeah, give me 5 minutes and I'll come find you, okay? You tapping me on the back like I'm your mate for? Look at that, slap me on the back. Give me a kiss. I'll see you in a minute. Mwah, love you. You love me? Tell me then. Ed, bruv. Ed.
Get-
Bro, what are you saying, bruv?
I'm not saying that I just believe Greenwood could do that, and my question is, when will this kid get his time? Because if you bring in a Haaland, they're around the same age, and Haaland ain't coming in to be no backup dancer. So,
Mate, that's it as well. That's why people say who your number one choice is. Like you've always got your personal preferences, but the reason I don't ever put Haaland up there is because you've got Martial, very good striker. Cavani's here this season and next year, and you've got Greenwood. So I don't look at centre forward area as being a priority anymore. Yeah. Even the Grealish element, you've got two top level players that can perform on the left. What we don't have is anybody that is proficient enough, consistent enough on the right hand side. And we even saw with Rashford the other day. He's okay on the right, but he likes to come inside onto his left foot, and he come inside, and his left foot isn't as strong.
Not as strong, yeah.
He's got that bow-footed gene. Like the only reason that for me Greenwood has done well on the right is because he can cut in. And I keep seeing people say, "Oh, you know, Saka's better than him. He's much better on the wings." Yeah, Saka's a wide player.
Yeah,
Greenwood is a central player, and you'll see that as he gets older. But yeah, it's an interesting one for me. I thought
Haaland to City for me is nailed on. I believe that's where he'll go. It seems like a mad move.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's going to go there, and he.
There's a comment here I just want to highlight. Sorry, Terry. It says, "But Haaland is more clinical than all our strikers." Have you watched? I'm not saying he isn't, but have you personally watched Haaland for like 2 years? Have you like? It's the same thing with people saying about Werner. Oh, Werner's so clinical. Werner is going to come in the Prem and outscore all these strikers. Them man are saying it because I've never seen Werner play a full season. Like, if you've seen Haaland play a full season and list me all the chances he's missed, where you should say, he should have scored that, and it's very little, then cool, isn't it? But like, we don't know that about Haaland really, because all we do see is the highlights from the Champions League or maybe highlights from Dortmund where he's scoring goals. You know what I'm saying? And people in the chat are saying that, listen, Haaland gets a lot of chances. They play towards Haaland's play style. Yeah. Would he necessarily fit what we're doing at Man United? Right now, I'm not too sure. You know what I'm saying? We'd have to watch United more in the way we're going with Haaland, and we have to watch Haaland more. Well, and again, this is not me saying Haaland's terrible, bruv. You know what I mean? Haaland is a sick footballer, bruv. You know what I mean? He's sick. Yeah, and if he ever came to Man United, you better well know that man's gassing the ting, fam. You know what I'm saying? But for me, I believe we've already got that thing already there in Mason Greenwood, and I won't back down from that.
You know what's mad with it, right? So if you look at this season in the Bundesliga, right? So it's interesting, right? Because Martial's shooting accuracy is 63%. It's higher. So he gets more shots on target than Haaland and Timo Werner. Theirs is still very good. 58% for Haaland, 57% for Timo Werner. It's the conversion rate this season. Haaland is at 34%. So he scored 10 goals in the 9 games that he has played. Martial's played 12 games, but actually only about 80 minutes more, and he's only scored 2. His conversion rate is 10% this year. So Anthony Martial is below the curve. There is no doubt about that. Same as Timo Werner, 14% conversion rate. He is behind the curve as it stands. But where I have faith in Anthony Martial, if you go back to last season as an example, his conversion rate was 28%, right? And if we do the same thing for Haaland and go back just a year, and look what he did. His conversion rate in the Bundesliga was 52%. So he is more clinical, right? There's no doubt. There is no doubt about that. 80% shooting accuracy, like, it was just absolutely phenomenal. And I'm not saying that Haaland wouldn't improve Manchester United. I've said all along that I think he's a better finisher than Anthony Martial is. But we don't have a bad finisher. If you go back and look in the Premier League over the last 3 or 4 years, Anthony Martial 28%. Season before that, it was at 33%. The year before that, so we go all the way back to the 17-18 season, that was at 29%. Do you know how good Martial, when we say he's ice cold, right? Anthony Martial, his conversion rate on average in the last 4 years is almost double that of Lionel Messi. Messi's normally between 16 and 20%. And this man's been between 30 and 40%, right? Every year. Martial's problem at Man United is we've never regularly created opportunities for him. Ironically, until this year. And his conversion rate has dropped, and there's a bit of irony that he's hit a really bad run of form in the 1 year where he's actually having more and more chances created. It also in the 2016-17 season, he had a bad year as well. I think that was Jose's first year where he was only at 12 and a bit percent. But every year after that, it was high 20s, mid 30s and high 30s in conversion rates, which is absolutely astronomical. To give you an example of that, Jamie Vardy is looked at as a top class striker. He's averages 24% conversion rate. Martial in the last few years have been above that. And this is the thing for me. That's why I don't look at Haaland as a huge priority, because I think we've got very good in that position already. And I would rather CDM role, a right-sided attacker, another centre-back first. But by the time we've done that, Haaland's gone. So you sometimes, and that's why I would say to fans, you can't have everything all the time. You have to prioritize. And when you prioritize 2 or 3 other positions, you might miss out on an absolute star, if that makes sense. And it's, it's like right now, there could be a world-class right-back. Are Liverpool going to look at him? No. Even if he's slightly better than Trent, they're not going to bother. Why? There's no need to spend on that area of their pitch when they could focus on an area like the creativity in midfield that desperately needs addressing. So it isn't really a concern or worry for me in relation to that. Plus, listen, I think Haaland's going to do some madness. I do also think Haaland's conversion rate will slowly start to dip a little bit, but you never, again, what you said is right though. You never know how it's going to translate. We go back to last season for Timo Werner as an example. His conversion rate last year was 28%. He's come to the Premier League and it's dropped down to, it's literally halved. You don't know. Haaland, I mean, imagine the reaction if you drop 100 mil on Haaland and he comes in with a 40% conversion rate and it drops down to like 18%. You're going to get absolutely sliced. But who knows? It's such an interesting one for me. But I agree with you. I think he's going to go to Man City, which is going to be unfortunate. Mason Greenwood, what do you reckon his conversion rate is?
This season, probably not too high. Probably what? Again, the 10%er potentially.
Yeah, so far this season, 10%. Last season, in his first Premier League's proper season, 31%. So he had, but what's interesting is the accuracy. So last season, the accuracy was 63%. This season, he's been off key this year. His accuracy this year, where Martial's accuracy has remained the same between 50 and 60% every year. And you look at Greenwood's this year, it's dropped down to 38%. But it's cool. I just sort of feel like Haaland right now is blazing a trail for all young strikers, the same as Mbappe did. And what you're getting is that same sort of reaction from people. Well, if you're not doing what Haaland's doing, you're shit. That's almost it ain't very good. It's like, bruv, Haaland's scoring rates, conversion rates, and shooting accuracy is better than any other striker. In the last 18 months, he's better than any other striker in the world. Plus, if you look at all the best strikers in the world, none of them were doing it at Haaland's age. He's doing something which is beyond unprecedented. So you can't look at something that's abnormal and try and use it as the benchmark. Because if you do, you might find that for the next 30 years, every striker fails by that standard. That's just stupid. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, I'm seeing people say Greenwood is overrated and stuff like that. I'm just like, the kid's 19 and he plays football like he's 28. Like, the way that he played, like, if you just watch him, don't be only because he plays right wing, don't be expecting running at people, putting in crosses, because that's not him. He's a striker playing out wide. Mm-hmm. If you look at the way that he retains the ball, wins the ball, and keeps the play flowing, you don't expect that from a young player. You expect them to panic sometimes, to give the ball away, and maybe go on a run like his Traore. Adama Traore. Like, he keeps the ball so well, and his shots aren't wild. His shots are on target. You know what I mean? Like he's good at shooting with both feet. People just need to give the kid a break just because he's not scoring like Haaland. He doesn't even get the first 10 minutes like Haaland. You know what I mean? Like let him do his thing, man.
Of course. And I think for me, it's just Haaland's got an advantage as well. And the advantage is, and it's not a salty thing, it's a genuine one. The reason that he's so he's got an advantage is because he's built like a man at the same age.
They built like a brick, bro. If you like.
Yeah, Rooney had that. Wayne Rooney at 15, 16 was built like a man. So like he's filled out a bit at Greenwood in the last sort of 8-9 months. But when he first burst on the scene, man was pure skinny, like Rashford. When Rashford came about, he looked at him and he looked like a little boy. And that plays a part in the men's, especially in England, where it's more physical. And Werner and Kai Havertz have both come out and said, can't believe how strong the league is. Like there's things that happen to you on the field of play in the Premier League, which are fouls in Germany. So you don't ever know how a player is going to respond. I think Haaland will be okay though, because he grew up here. He was born here, weren't he? Like he understands the mentality. It'll be instilled in him. But it's an interesting one. So on total shots, Haaland's had 25 shots this year, and he scored 13 goals, which is just astronomical. Oh my god! No, sorry, I was looking at the wrong. I was looking at Timo Werner. How many shots do you reckon he's had this season?
So Timo Werner, how many shots has he had?
Yeah.
I want to say he's probably had around 18 to 20?
28 shots. 58% on target, 57% on target, 14% conversion rate. So he's got those 4 goals. Anthony Martial, let's take a look at him. I'm really intrigued, more or less. See, yeah, he's had 19 shots, 63% on target, but only converted 10 of them. If he would have had the same average conversion rate as the last few years, he'd be on 6 to 7 goals. See, the number of shots needs to improve. But then minutes-wise, though, he's played almost half the minutes of Werner. Yeah. So you see that happen there and stuff like that. Do you know where Greenwood needs to improve? Greenwood's had 13 shots. And what stands out in my mind from a Greenwood point of view in terms of converting is sometimes he shoots when he shouldn't. And that's a young man's thing. So he sometimes, do he step over, it'll come onto his left foot and it's like, no, don't shoot now. Right now, what he's cutting back. You know, Rashford the other day, it's like 2 years ago, Rashford would have, the goal against Wolves, the first drop shoulder shot he'd have shot from, but this time he did it on the second one where he really threw the player out the way and it led to the deflection. Those are little things, but it's players develop at different times. So for me, like I agree with you. If someone said to me now, like Haaland or Sancho or Haaland or Grealish, I'd pick Grealish and Sancho. I think that creativity is more important. I have faith that Martial is going to return to his high conversion. Greenwood, over the next couple of years, he's going to rise to a mid-20s, low 30s conversion rate player. Rashford's improving all the time. And then, by the way, Bruno Fernandes, like I think his conversion rate, something like 30-odd% for a midfielder. Yeah.
I've got one last question before you end the stream, Terry. If we couldn't get Sancho, would you, keeping in mind, mad.
If you say, are you saying? If you say Zaha, I'm leaving.
No. Not Zaha, not Depay, not Adama Traore. If we couldn't get Sancho, would you be okay with trying to get Callum Hudson-Odoi from Chelsea?
Yeah. Because I don't put him in the Wilfried Zaha Traore category. He hasn't been given a chance yet. I stand by my comments that I don't understand why. Is there an issue with him? I don't know. But whenever I see him play, it looks like he's working hard. So yeah, I would. I would look at it and say, there you go. I would test Chelsea's resolve, especially if they keep Lampard. If we don't sign him and go, look, let's just chuck a 50 mil.
Yeah, 50 mil.
And see what they say. Because why not? Like for me, yeah, because he's not. If he was a 26-year-old who was still there and not getting a chance, like a Loftus Cheek, I wouldn't want to touch it with a barge pole, because it's like if you're good enough, if Chelsea are willing to sell you and you're mid-20s, you ain't good enough at the highest level. It's as simple as that, in my view. But yeah, no, I would. Hudson-Odoi, it wouldn't bother me. I'd be excited about it. I'd rather spend the money on Saka, but I'd take Hudson-Odoi.
Really interesting.
Yeah, I think Saka's amazing. I think Saka's absolutely amazing, and he's doing it in a much worse team. But again, I'm splitting hairs here because they're both brilliant. Does that make sense? I'm talking purely preference.
Yeah. And we're not saying that it's going to happen, people, before you believe that we're saying it could happen. No, we understand that they're playing for teams that would not want to sell us their best young players at all. But if there was ever a scenario.
Yeah, the Chelsea one's interesting. It depends who comes in for him. Let's just say they go, we're backing Lampard no matter what. Viva la Fat Frank, right? But Frank don't want to play Hudson-Odoi. They're going to have to sell him. Depends who comes in and for what money. Because Arsenal can't afford him. They wouldn't sell to Tottenham because there's a genuine hatred in rivalry. Liverpool, Man United, and City would have an outside chance if no big European club came back in for him. Bayern might, because they've wanted him before. But that's it. Comment here says, Terry, thoughts on Buendia to Arsenal? I heard Lee Gunner say Buendia's name earlier, and I laughed because I get names wrong. And I think he called him something like Bunda. I can't remember how he said it. But it was like he broke it's like the name had 4 syllables in, and I laugh because sometimes I read a foreign name and I can't say it. It made me laugh, Lee, so much. But yeah, I think Buendia is really talented. I think he would improve. He's better than any creative player at Arsenal right now, including the level that Ozil's at now. Like not peak Ozil, but Ozil now. Yeah. He's better than Smith Rowe. He's Premier League proven. Bet he shits on Ceballos. Do you know what I mean?
I'm about to say
absolutely shits in his mouth, mate. Like it's absolutely done. So yeah, I think it'd be a good move for Arsenal. To be honest with you, United should sign Sarr. Listen, Sarr's good, but Sarr again levels to this. Sarr isn't as good as Saka, and Sarr isn't as good as Hudson-Odoi, and it depends on what you can pick people up for. Saka's unsignable right now. See how Arsenal's situation and plays out over the next 2 years. He could be available. Hudson-Odoi is an interesting one because the man just wants to be loved. And I think, let's just say we can't get Sancho. I think you could get in the ear roll of Hudson-Odoi though and force them. I think you could sit Ollie down. Sorry, Aaron. You could sit Ollie down, Carrick and Darren Fletcher. And they could put an arm around Hudson and say, listen, you know who we are. Look what we've won. Between us, we have more league titles than your whole football club. So we know what we're talking about here. Come chat to us. We want to make you a star. You know, we want to do this for you. We're even willing to take Cavani's number 7 and give it to you, bruv. Like, I'm not saying they would, but like, I mean, I don't think Cavani would give a damn, really. Do you know what I mean? Cavani would just pay you an extra 10 bags a week, bruv. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's happy retirement. Do you know what I mean? We'll put a flag up in the stadium for you, brother. But like, for me, like, you could do that with Hudson-Odoi because he's 3rd, 4th choice at the club. Facts. It doesn't get on with the manager. The club have given him a new deal, but never really backed him on the field of play. And I think of a club right now, it's a bit like a guy, you know, his missus, she's never at home. She doesn't really show him any attention. She never comes out with him. She never compliments him. And he's at work, and then there's this girl that he's always like. Suddenly she starts to give him some attention. She starts to be nice to him, and she starts to, you know, massage his ego a little bit. His head can be turned, and vice versa. This happens in both directions, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. So for me, it's like, that's what Man United should do right now. We should be like, we know he's with someone else, but we know he ain't happy because he or she treats him badly. Let's slide into the DMs a little bit and be like, yo, Hudson, what's going on? I mean,
all I'm saying is if we end up getting Sancho or wherever Sancho goes, Dortmund are knocking that door for Cho.
True. And I think that's you know, maybe that's the knock-on effect, you know what I mean? But it's, yeah, Hudson-Odoi is certainly.
As long as we free Cho from the grips of Chelsea and Fat Frank, yeah, but as I like to call him, the bangers and mash Boas, yeah. As long as we free him from there, it's all good.
Do you know what? All of this talk about right side, it just depends what Traore does in the next 6 months. And what I mean by that is, if we did an agreement right now with Sancho but couldn't get into the summer, that could be wasteful. If Traore comes in and is out of this world, we don't need any of them. Because you've got him. Do you get what I mean? And what I mean by don't need any of them, we've already got players that can do the backup role there. What you don't need, do you get where I'm coming from? I don't think we need to then go. What I mean is, it's okay when you've got a Rashford or a Greenwood to buy someone else because they didn't cost you anything. They're academy players. There's no point dropping another 50, 70, 80, 90 million if Traore comes in and is killing it. And we just don't know. He could also come in and you're like, yeah, Hudson, like, just Jaden, we need you boys because a man Traore is years and years away. Super chat there says, sell Pogba, get Grealish. Don't buy Sancho since we have 2 wingers incoming. Buy fast centre-backs and a world-class CDM. Look, fast centre-backs are great. They've got to be good footballers and they've got to be good defenders. Just being fast is not... They need to be fast, but they need all the other things. We need Harry Maguire with bare pace, brother. Actually, we just need Bay to stay fit.
Yeah, there we go. Eric Bay, stay fit and stop. Actually, no, don't stop being a clown because I love you. But be a smart clown. You know what I'm saying? Be a clown off the pitch. You know what I'm saying? Not on it.
It's interesting. In that first season under Jose, he was a little rash a few times when he rushed into the back, but he was so good. I thought, he's young, he's going to go on. His biggest problem has been, again, the biscuit body problem. And that's the issue with so many players that have come to the Prem, him, Keita, and a few others. So much talent, but their bodies just fall down and break. Matip at Liverpool, really good defender. Man, if he plays 2 games in a week, he's out. He can't handle it. And as we said about Naby Keita the other day, man gets injured sitting on aeroplanes. Like, I'm talking in a first-class seat in pure luck. Imagine him in coach. He'd end up in a wheelchair. If he had to sit in coach, like economy class, he'd come out. I've been in a wheelchair, boys. Legs are gone. Legs are gone. Simple as that. Listen, everyone who's tuned in, thank you. We're live tonight after Southampton versus Liverpool. So make sure you're tuning in. Big game for the Scousers tonight. Can they go back solely top of the league and not joint top of the league with Manchester United, who currently occupy the top position between our 2 gigantic football clubs? Massive game. Agent Danny Ings, what's he going to do? We will see. Until next time, everyone, take care of yourselves. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again